Hello friends, and welcome to week 3 of the speed run. We got the dress done last week. If you have missed those past 2 videos, I'll put them up here for you and also down below so that you can catch up on what's going on. Basically, I got invited to a party and I had a month to make a dress, and I made the dress, but I need a petticoat and kind of need some stays, so I have 10 days until I'm supposed to leave. Do we think I can get stays done in that amount of time? Also, implicit in that statement is that hopefully I will get a little bit of footage, maybe just a little bit, at the event itself, and I'll put it in the final video for those of you who are keeping up, so you can at least get the payoff of seeing the whole thing go down. Sorry about my eyes if they look red and puffy to you. I am highly allergic to my own cats and I have 7 of them, so I'm actually only allergic to like 3 of them. I think the ones that I get when they're real little I somehow am not allergic to. I think it's because I grew up with their dander, or they grow up, I grow and they grow at the same time. That's how life works with the dander and so it makes it not so allergic for me. But I've had 3 rounds of shots and those are 5 years per round. And I am still taking it daily every day and still highly allergic to my cat. So whenever I snuggle Aries, who is my first beast, yeah, I get a little itchy, that like back of the throat thing, the inner ear thing, like it's gross. So yeah. Anyway, today we're gonna make a petticoat and I want to make this today. Like I need it done today. So we're gonna see how that goes. I have the linen washed ready so that we're in an advanced state. So the first thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and clean off this messy table and give this fabric a good press, cut it in half. I'm going to seam up the sides. Really all you have to do for an 18th century petticoat is seam up the sides. I'm going to use a French seam for that so that there's no raw edges anywhere. And then you put a waistband on, you pleat it down into a waistband, sew that down, which, you know, for me I'm gonna hand sew that, so that's gonna take a while, and that's gonna happen today, that's fine. And then you put it on your dress form over your, I'm gonna do it over a butt. Sometimes you do it over pocket hoops, depending on what you want to do. I'm doing it over a butt, and then you hem it. So this is a speed run, so I am doing a lot today, but I think I can get it done, so we're gonna give this a go. Okay, you guys may have noticed a little like weird thing go down in that time lapse while I was trying to pull the thread for one of the sides. I put 90 inches into the washing machine expecting to get like 88 back, so I'd have 2 44-inch panels and I could hem it 1 inch and it would be fine. Yeah, it came out at 42 inches per panel, which is like shorter than I think I want them, but maybe not, but I didn't want to risk it. So instead of just kind of fudging it, I actually have I had at that point 2 cuts of black linen that were both like not quite enough, so I cut out 45 inches off one and 45 inches off the other, and the 2 off-cut pieces will become part of the stays later when I do black stays. So I'm not worried about those pieces, they're big enough for that, so it's fine. And I was just like, I just want to get a skirt that I can like hem properly and like cut properly. Yeah, anyway, so that's what happened. All right, now I'm going to French seam up both of the sides. In today's edition of Black on Black, I have some nice French seams going in here, which is cool, and I did leave a 9-inch slit down each side. I'm going to show you my red one to show you what I'm going to do as far as the pleating goes and how this goes together. I mean, this is super simple to make and you can use this as a tutorial if you like. Honestly, I just left myself a 9-inch slit at the top of each side and French seamed that so far. The funny thing about this is that these are actually 2 different black linens and one is wider than the other. So I'm gonna have the front be the less wide side and the back be the more wide side. Here's the red one, which may or may not be easier to see since it's white tape on red. So that you do an inverted box pleat, I think, is that right? This is the inverted one. And then you push the pleats going outward from there you make this tape. So the front section, I have a 40-inch waist, for example. So each one of these is a tape, and it's 20 inches. I mark the 20 inches on here, and I put an additional, I don't know, like 20 inches on each side for tying. So this box pleat is like 4 inches wide or so, and then you can pleat in the rest. Nicole would tell me that you don't need to have these, like, what she would probably deem as princess pleats in here. These could be much bigger and sloppier, and that would be just fine. I'm a Capricorn, so here's what happened. On the back, you do the same thing, except your pleat is much smaller, because this is the part that goes down between your bum, and you just pleat into the exact same spot. So that's essentially all you have to do, and then you hem it, and you're done. So that's why this is not that big of a project, except it is. I mean, you still gotta pleat this, and then I hand sew all this down, these tapes down, and that does take, you know, a while, so yeah. You could absolutely do that on the machine though. Okay, I have some black tape that I'm going to use for this. This is only 1/2 inch though. This is like, I would definitely recommend like more than this. Like 1 inch wide. If you're going to buy this stuff, it's way easier. This is going to be fussy AF, but we're going to run with it because this is what we've got and we're into using what we've got. Alright, here's how I do it. I mark the center point. This is where my first pleat is going to end. This is actually 2.5 inches. And then I need to pleat the rest of this whole section over here down to 10 inches. And then I need to pleat this whole section down to 10 inches. So I just start pleating and try to make them even if possible. And don't fuss about it too much because it doesn't really matter, it's going under your clothes. Alright, just checking in with this guy being on. I found one that is 5/8 of an inch, so I decided to use this tape instead. And every little bit that can like go over this top edge here, it's worth it. So I think this pleat in the front is a little excessive. It's 5 inches instead of 4 inches, but long hair don't care. It's fine. I'm gonna go whip the back on. And by whip the back on, I mean this took me like 2 hours because I pleated it and then I basted it on the machine and then I hand back stitched the front and then felled the back down. So, you know, it's been a couple hours. So that back one's going to be a couple hours too. That's fine. Okay, so petticoat is done, and as predicted, I absolutely probably could have just used the one stretch of fabric cut in half at 43 inches, I think. 42 inches? I don't know. My petticoat that I have now is 43 inches on one side, like on the back, and 41 on the front, so maybe not, but it is neither here nor there now, so I'm going to go ahead and turn a hem up on this just so I can have a look at it and see how it is, and if all looks good, I will cut it and hem it. Okay, so I have marked a hem 2.5 inches off the ground. I don't know if that's a good amount, but that's what I did. So now I'm going to bring it up here and mark it and hem the whole thing, and then we'll be all good with this. Okay, I got the hem like marked and cut out and double folded up in a kind of wavy wonky way, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. And now I am stitching it because I'm a masochist and I like hand stitched hems, so that's what's happening. I think I'm going to call it quits for tonight though. It's like 3:30 in the morning and I should get to bed because I have to get up early. Today is my birthday, so I'm going to go over to my bestie's house and we are going to, there's 3 of us, so me and my 2 besties, we're all going to have tea together that we pick up from the tea place, which is cool. And then tomorrow night I'm supposed to go to dinner with my husband and another one of my very good friends, so I think tomorrow's going to be kind of a low production day for this, so I'm kind of concerned. I realized I kept thinking I had 4 weeks. I don't. I have 3.5. I have even less than that really, because I leave on Thursday. So like today, the day that's coming out tomorrow after the sleep sit today, is Wednesday. So I really only have 8 more days. I'm like, can I make stays in that amount of time? I don't know if I can do it or not. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna like put an effort in to see if I can get that done, and if I can't, I can't, and if I can, I can, so we'll find out. Either way, having this petticoat done is like, we're good to go, so at this point, it's okay. But I'm gonna try, so we'll see. Anyway, I'm gonna go to sleep, is what I'm saying, and I'll be back probably tomorrow, but not for very much stuff. Hi guys, it's the 6th. I basically took my birthday off because I spent all day at my friend's house having tea with my 2 besties, and then I went out to dinner with my husband and another very good friend, and that took like 3 more hours, and at that point I just came home and passed out, and then I slept for 11 hours, which was delightful. And it was delightful especially because today I had to take Dakota into the vet. For those of you who have been following the Dakota saga, she has been extra skinny for like 2 years. She got super lethargic over the last like 48 hours, and her stomach got distended and stuff. So there's a million reasons for this. Like several organs are in failure at this point. So we have her here for another day or 2, and then we're gonna take her in for her forever sleeps. So it's gonna happen while this video is being made. So I don't know what's gonna get done during this video, we'll find out. I did have some decisions about this skirt though because of that, and also just because I was like, ugh, and I'm like at the end of worrying about the historical accuracy of this skirt. So let me show you what's gonna happen. Okay, I only sewed like this much, but it was already like wonky. Like this hem is very wobbly looking, like you probably can't even see that. It's just, it's like drunk hem. So it's not folded over very precisely. So what I'm gonna actually do is unpick this whole thing. It's only like 20 minutes worth of hand sewing, so that's fine. And then re-iron this hem down and fold over. And then I'm going to use the blind hem foot on my machine to finish this skirt because I just want it done. And at this point I have 1 week to sew stays, and you know I'm not gonna be able to do anything on Sunday, so I have less than a week. I have like 5 days. Can I sew stays in 5 days? Let's find out. Maybe not, and if I don't, and I am absolutely not going to be hard on myself about it. Now is not the time to be hard on oneself for anything, so if I get some stuff done, cool, and I distract myself with sewing, awesome, and if I don't feel like sewing, I'm not going to do it. So that's what's happening, and I'm not going to worry about whether or not my stays are done. I will wear the other stays, and I will pin them to myself. I will pin my dress up if I have to, or I'll figure something out. It'll be fine. So let me unpick this and double fold. I want to measure it as I fold it and iron it so that it's all the same width, so it doesn't get all wonky like it is, because that's highly annoying. Okay, witchy black petticoat complete. I'm gonna go dig up the pattern for the front lacing stays and at least get the paper cut out today. Okay, the great thing about this is there's not that many pieces to cut out, so fantastic. I found some pre-washed canvas that I bought earlier, so I'm going to use this for a mock-up and get this all cut out. Okay, I have everything cut out. I do want to stay stitch the tabs on here so that I can slice them, so I can make sure the tabs fit right. So I'm going to use this light table to just draw the tabs on so that I can then stay stitch that line and do the slicing of it. Okay, I have a mock-up here ready to go. I have cut the tabs up so that they will work, and I've attached the lacing strips I made in a previous video. I will link that for you so that you can check that out. I knew exactly where they needed to fall on this piece, so I just basically attached them so that I can lace myself up in this without having to grommet my mock-up. I cut out a stomacher, but I guess I didn't really need to. Okay, so here's the mock-up. They are not boned at all, so that causes like some of this like wrinkling you're seeing here at all. And it'll also cause the tabs to like stick up a little bit as they are not really like being forced into position. So they close completely, which tells me that either this fabric is stretching slightly or something, because I'm getting like no waist reduction, but the fit on them is actually really good. So I'm pretty happy with it. Like, I feel like they're low enough. So when I pull the tabs down like they were boned, the fit on the back is really great, except for this attachment point right here. That happens to me on every 18th century stays that I have, or 18th century jacket or whatever. Like, I just don't have enough like meat in that area for how big my waist is, so people expect more stuff there, and I never have it, which, you know, you'd think you'd be grateful, but no, it means I have to do an adjustment every time. So I probably will just tuck that down a little bit, which is normally what I do. So I pull the strap down just a little bit in that area and I sew it a little bit off. But the side seams look really good. They're not like weird or buckling in any way, and even without boning, which that's cool. Yeah, the only thing I'm really like weirded out by is that I measured the waist before I put these on, and that was 37.5 inches, which the pattern said it would be 36. So I'm like, where does that other 1.5 come from? But whatever. It was 37.5, which still should have been like a waist reduction for me if this was closed, but it is closed at 40. So that's telling me that I think this fabric is stretching a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and make them up because I think the lines are all good. The space is good, like where this is all hitting is right. So, and if they end up being significantly smaller because they got quilted down or because that fabric didn't stretch or whatever, I can always make a stomacher because that's part of this pattern. I can also, if they close, be super happy with this because they're actually very comfortable. So that's cool. The only thing I'm sad about is that they don't like hold my bosom up because there are no cups. You can watch my boob just falling slowly down, which makes me sad, but at least they fit at the right spot, which I'm excited about. All stays have my boobs slide down. They just don't stay up in them. It's probably, I can't tell if it's just because they're not tight enough or even when they're really tight, they seem to slide down. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna make these up. Okay, so here it is with my dress on top of it, which is fantastic. They're actually way low enough cut that you wouldn't see anything. The stuff that you see right here is my chemise, which I can just loosen so that it can tuck in. So I feel like that's great. They also don't stick out in the back at all, which is really nice. So I'm feeling good about that. Hi guys. Okay, so at the risk of being a very bummer of a vlog, I told you what happened yesterday and what that means is gonna happen Sunday. I woke up this morning to find out that the entire reason I'm on this speed run doesn't exist anymore. So that party has gotten canceled. Rightly so. COVID's a situation. There were a bunch of people who were not comfortable or were at risk or were recently exposed that caused us to basically it fizzled out, and then that is okay. Like, these things happen and I would rather be safe than sorry. So you can see it's dark out. My speed run is completely unnecessary, but that does not mean I want to slow down. I might go to a speed jog rather than a speed run. I did take a lot of today to deal with, you know, finding out what was going on, like why this was happening, like what happened, not why, we all know why COVID happened, but to, like, you know, talk to the people involved and stuff. And then also deal with getting my airfare back because that's not exactly an easy thing to do these days. I am getting a credit for a little bit of it, like a third of it, and then 2/3 of it is somehow getting sent back to my credit card, which I did not expect. I expected the entire thing to be a credit. So for once, like, United's weird policies worked in my benefits, so I'm gonna take that. So that happened. In the last 24 hours, I've also canceled a trip from another friend who was gonna come here and hang out. I've also, in the last 24 hours, canned a live theater performance that is happening next week that I was supposed to go to, but I'm like, no, that's not happening. So all of these things are coming to fruition. I have one more grand planned that may or may not happen. I was supposed to drive to the Seattle area, going through Portland, seeing a bunch of friends on the way there. I don't know if that's gonna happen at this point. It's in 2 weeks' time, so I'll see what the numbers look like then and how I feel. One of my best friends from high school needs his buddy, and I want to go see him and comfort him, and like, he needs his buddy. So if I can't go, I'm gonna be real bummed. I decided not to fly because Omicron, although that presents its own set of risks also, right? Because you have to stop at gas stations and you have to stop at hotels, and there's actually a lot of touch points still if you don't fly. So anyway, I decided to drive up there. I don't know if that's gonna happen, so we'll see how it goes. Who knows? that all on top of Italy. and I also am not going to the Jewel concert that I was gonna go to. So cool. That is all my bummer news. You have heard all of it now. I am not doing as bad as I thought I would, given all the things that have happened in the last 24 hours. I expect Sunday that I will be a complete disaster. I am trying to use dealing with logistics, you know, to like kind of keep me calm in the face of the storm. I also think all of the decisions that I've gotten made, including the cat, including this party, including everything, were like the responsible adult decisions. And while I'm not really happy to be a responsible adult, I am one. So I think that's helping me not to like have a complete meltdown over this, but that might happen. There might be a meltdown. I might get really upset later, we'll see. Anyway, I watched The Hobbit with my husband also, which we haven't seen basically since it was in the theaters. It's still that one's okay. The ones that follow it are questionable. So we did that together, which was cool. We are spending time with Dakota while we have her, but she's very tired. She's anemic, so she's sleeping a lot. So we're trying to like let her sleep, but also hang out with her. So yeah. Anyway, I have some couture in the wash. This pattern calls for 2 very thick layers, which I'm like, okay. So it wants a couture, and it definitely wants a twill back to back, and then you can add a fashion layer if you want to. And I'm like, wow, I do want to do the black linen, and I also kind of want to do a purple linen one, so I'm gonna see how black linen ones go first. I am also going to make some, I'm not even gonna say adjustments to the pattern instructions, because the pattern instructions aren't fully clear. I think RedThreaded sort of expects that you know what you're doing. Luckily, I kind of know what I'm doing, so it will be okay for me to make these days. I'm going to do some things that they do in a different order so that I can, you know, bind them slightly differently, and I can get the straps on slightly differently and stuff. I also did take a look at the mock-up, and that is definitely stretchy. It's stretchier than I thought it was. So that's where those extra inches came from. So I am confident that this thing will be about 38 inches and there will be a gap in the front, and then that's fine. And if I feel like once I make them that I want to make the stomach or 2, I will. Anyway, what that does mean is that I do not have to make a pair of stays in 5 days. That's good because I burned all of today. So that would have been 4 days. Actually, that's not true. It would have been Saturday, Sunday, but no, that would have been 4 days. So at least I don't have to do that. So that's great. I can give myself a little bit more time, which is fantastic. So I'm just going to keep chugging along on this project and try to get this all done, because this dress is still going to get used at some point. And, you know, the people I was going to hang out with, I'm sure will have a different situation where we can go take pictures that are witchy later. So I will still want and use this thing, so I'm still going to continue on, and it's good to have motivation to just finish it and like complete the speed run, maybe give myself just a little bit more compassion. Hello, this is your obligatory Noelle is very wet and very clean segment to this video. Okay, so I have all of the fabric washed and ironed out. So what I have to do now is cut this out. And I have to cut it out 3 times, and I have to cut it out 3 times flat, not even doubled up. When I get to the linen layer, I also need to mark the boning channels. In the instructions, they tell you to mark the boning channels on the back of it, so you can, but that would mean you would sew it upside down and your bobbin thread would be the top thread on that. I'm not sure how I love that. Maybe I don't care. I kind of care a little bit. I think my top thread is better than my bobbin thread, so I think I'm gonna actually just chalk pencil it on there, and that chalk pencil will for sure come off. So I'm currently now just like looking. Wow, that's really tight. I cut exactly enough there. So I'm gonna look at all the pattern pieces and make sure that my plan for how I'm gonna sew these together and stuff is gonna go over well, and then just start cutting and tracing the pattern pieces so that they are cut out and ready. And that's all I'm expecting out of myself today. So we'll see, and see if we can even get that done, because it's 3 times. And then each one of, so I have to cut out like 6 of these essentially. So, because I have to do it once each way. Sigh. But I'm going to follow the instructions and not double it up and actually cut them to exact measurements, and hope everything works out fine. Okay, so for this, I think I'm going to chalk outline them and then have them all outlined along this whole situation and then cut them separately. so that I don't have the pins wrinkling the fabric up and taking up a little bit of space that is actually necessary in these. Okay, I'm here on layer 2. I've tried this chalk pencil, I have tried this chalk situation, and I've tried this chalk situation, and I hate all of them, especially since I used this thing. This can't really be used on this because it doesn't show up, so I have to go to something like this. I kind of want to know if they have this in other colors, so I'm gonna find out. This is like a wax thing. One of you guys actually sent me this frog marking chalk wax stuff. I have now 3 boxes of it. Somewhere there's another box of this. I think actually Hannah still has it. There's one that is a different thing. I think it's a rabbit. We found a bunch of different animals that you can get of this kind of stuff, so we were going to cross test them all. This is how much I have of this one. But I have 2 more boxes that I bought in New York, so I think I got I got them in New York or LA. Maybe I got them in LA, I'm not sure. This is the stuff. If you can find this, this is great. I think though this is like wax. I think it does come off with your iron, but it is in fact waxy to the touch, but it is much smoother. And also it doesn't do this like vague spreading business that chalk does. That I don't love it. I'm too Capricorn for this situation. Okay, we have 2 sets of strength layers there, and then we have some linen. It's probably not enough linen, actually. It's fine, because I have another exact one of these, so that's cool. I am going to iron this, and then I am going to starch it, because this is very squidgy, and I need to be able to draw the boning channels on here, and I want to make sure that this will not squidge too much. So I'm going to lightly starch it. I haven't figured out how I'm going to get that starch back out at any point, but that's a problem for future Noel, so I'm not going to worry about it too much right now. Okay, this has a much stiffer hand now, so that's great. I'm going to go ahead and do the outline, and then I'm going to rough cut them, but not actually cut them out. Draw in the lines for the boning channels while it's in rough cut state. If I cut them out exactly and then put the lines on, I run the risk of like stretching them out while I'm drawing the lines on, and I'd rather not risk it. So I think I will outline them, draw the lines on, and then cut them out. And hopefully that will make them closer to the lining layer that they're going to be attached to. Okay, we have the linen done. I'm very glad that I did the spray starch. I think that was a genius idea. The hand on it is much better. It's still not like stiff or anything, so it's fine. So now I'm gonna rough cut these out, and I mean some of these places are really tight, so it's not gonna be that rough, specifically in those areas. And then I have to start the long haul of drawing all those lines onto here so that I can stitch. This kind of shows you what I'm looking at, which is hard to tell what's going on because I'm looking at black threads and black lines that are going in the same directions as the threads. So I'm gonna take my time with this and mark it out as gently as I can and try not to stress out about it. And some of the stuff I'm gonna take measurements for because like there are straight lines that are a certain set apart, so that should be easier. So this is gonna take a while. Okay, I have one set of panels done. There is 3 sets that I need to do. The other ones should be easier than this because there's less going on. But yeah, I can't really see with that. I can use it to like mark where I see ends, and then I essentially use my ruler to draw that. I'm really grateful I starched this. I would have starched it even more had I known how hard it was to draw on this. I feel like we're doing good though. Hello. It is Monday. I obviously took yesterday off. All the hard stuff is over. We are moving along with our life and grieving as a household does, where it's fine and then it's not suddenly. So that's what's going on around here. For the most part, we are happy that we did the right thing for her. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I do not want this vlog to be too much of a bummer, but also I'm a real person who has real life problems and real life things happen, so I figure I should share those also, and they affect my vlog and the mood of my vlog and the mood of me, so it's good to explain. Alright, so I have 2 more panels that I need to draw these lines onto. This last one, so I just need to do these 2 panels and get them done. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then it's Monday, so I'm gonna cut the vlog off and edit it, and it is what it is, because we talked about weekly vlogs, and whatever's in them is in them, so that's what's in this one. I hope to actually get this sewn up and maybe done by next week. Like, the whole point was to try to get it done in 4 weeks, so we're gonna see if that works. I am, because of the stretch that was in that mock-up, I am considering this definitely a, like, second mock-up slash wearable mock-up. Like, I hope that these are perfect. I hope that they fit really well. I hope that there's a small gap in the front like they're supposed to be, and I can put a stomacher in there if I need to, and everything goes well with them. But if it doesn't, it's okay. The whole point of this exercise is to A, learn how to make these stays really well, and B, to get this pattern perfect. So it's okay if this is a complete disaster based on that first mock-up. I think it's going to be fine. All of those pieces seem to hit me in the right places. I have been hearing horror stories from people in the comments about how they'd move stuff around, so I'm thinking this is going to be great. I would also like to, at this moment, because I have not done it yet, thank everyone who sent me Christmas and birthday cards to my P.O. box. That was really sweet of you guys, and I really appreciate that, and it made my day. It made weeks, actually, whole weeks. So it was really cool to get birthday and Christmas cards from you guys. There is a P.O. box if anyone wants to send me letters. It's available. It's down below in every video. It's always there if you want it. Don't feel obligated, but if you feel like you want to send me a letter, feel free. Here we are, completely boning channels laid out. Alright, it is Monday, so I am going to stop the vlog, and I just need to actually do the cutting out of the proper things of these, but then as soon as I cut them out, I'm going to essentially glue them to the layer that's underneath them. Yes, I said glue. I'm going to use fabric glue, like spray glue, and glue them together and then stitch them. That will let me push all the air bubbles out and stuff so that they're nice and together, so that they become one piece essentially, and then they will be attached to the couture layer via boning channels essentially. So that's all gonna happen in the next vlog. or tomorrow, as we say. So I will see you guys next week. As always, leave me notes about what you guys are doing, what you're watching, what you're listening to. Thank you for coming on this adventure with me, despite the fact that I don't get to go to this party in a couple days. Still gonna try to see if I can get this done, so that's cool. And I feel like it's possible. I'm also not going to like push myself, so if things don't work out, that's okay also. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good week.